New angle, new lighting, my beard's getting ridiculous. Welcome to the A-side from March 2017. As you guys know, the A-side is where I talk about albums coming out this month that I'm excited to hear. I also talk about records coming in that I pre-ordered or that I recently picked up that should be showing up this month. And music news that's relevant to my interests. Something we're adding for this is a new little segment where we're going to be asking you for fan questions. So if you want to ask me a question about music or really anything, leave a comment below or tweet me at Too Many Records, and in the B-side, which is the last Monday of the month, I'll answer them for you. Before I talk about the albums this month that I'm looking forward to listening to, I just want to mention that I talked about Thundercat's Drunk in my last B-side, and I said I didn't have a chance to listen to it. I just heard it, and it's unbelievable. So I would almost say pause this video and listen to it right now. It's that good, but I want you to keep watching, so don't do that. But after this video, check out Thundercat's Drunk. It is a revelation. Grandaddy, an indie pop rock band from the 2000s, has their first album since 2006 coming out. The album's called Last Place, and honestly, I hope it's as good as their last release, which is called Just Like the Family Cat. Their first album had a single called AM 180, which was one of the first songs that got me into indie music. I'm talking back early high school when I would listen to Neutral Milk Hotel of Montreal. That was one of those cornerstone tracks. So check out AM 180, and then if you like that, check out the rest of Grandaddy stuff. And honestly, I hope it's good. Temples is releasing their second album, Volcano. Now, when they released the single from their first album, Shelter Song, I was blown away. I heard it on Sirius XMU, and it sounded like Revolver-era Beatles. Now, that's really hard to pull off and do well, but they nailed it. The album came out, and I was disappointed. I thought the singles were pretty good, but the rest of the album was kind of average. So I never went back to it after one or two listens. But I'm willing to give Volcano a shot. If maybe they improved, maybe they took the good stuff from the first and added more, I'm going to give it a listen. The Shins are releasing their fifth album, Heartworms. Shins are great. I feel like no one can say anything bad about the Shins, especially their first two albums. I honestly haven't been a huge fan of them since their first two albums. They always have quality stuff. I think the singles are good and the albums are pretty consistent, but I've never been blown away. So hopefully this goes back to the feeling of the first two albums, but we'll see. Depeche Mode is putting out an album called Spirit. Now, I don't know how Depeche Mode's going to sound in 2017. I think 2013 was their last album. And while I love their early stuff, like Music for the Masses and Violator, I'm curious to hear this because they're a great band. I mean, they're one of the best bands from the 80s, hands down. So, if they're going to put out an album this year, I'm going to give it a listen. I'm not expecting too much, but I'll let you know what I think in the B-side. And then the two I'm most excited for, first is Spoon's Hot Thoughts. Spoon is one of my favorite indie rock bands. I've been a fan of theirs since high school, and some of their albums like Kill the Moonlight and Gaga are almost perfect albums to me. Now, I thought they were losing their stride when they released Transference, which was not nearly as good as the albums before it. But then their last release, They Want My Soul, that blew me away. That album came out of nowhere. The singles were great, and the whole album had this awesome consistency to it. I go back to it all the time. I picked up the record, I think, at the limited white, I believe. This one's cool because they're putting it out on purple vinyl through the Matador store, and this is really interesting. 2 copies worldwide are on green vinyl, surprise inserts, and if you get one of those two, A, mega collectible, like that's going to be worth hundreds, and B, it gets you 1 ticket to any Spoon show of your choice, which honestly, I think they should do a lifetime of Spoon shows. I mean, if you're one of the 2 people that get it, I think 1 show is kind of weak. But, let them do their thing. Maybe I'll get it. Who knows? If I do, I will obviously make a video about it. So, wish me luck. If you got it, I wish you luck. And then, The Magnetic Fields is putting out 50-song Memoir. Merritt is an unbelievable songwriter. I have the box set over there of 69 love songs, which is just what it sounds like, 69 different love songs, and I have it on the colored vinyl. And this new album is apparently, he started it on his 50th birthday, and it's 1 song for every year of his life. With his songwriting skills and his awesome deep bass voice, a lot like The National. I feel like The National must have had a lot of influence by The Magnetic Fields because they've been around forever. I think this is going to be such a good album, and if I like at least 10 of the songs, I'll probably pick up the vinyl, which is, I think, a box set. So it's not going to be super cheap, but it's worth it because Magnetic Fields are one of the best bands doing what they're doing today. Let's dive into music news real quick. So, as I predicted, they announced that the replacement for Beyonce is going to be Lady Gaga at Coachella 2017. My opinion on that is meh. Lady Gaga's not a bad artist by any means. I think that for my taste, I would have preferred a lot of other choices they could have went with. Daft Punk! Sorry, I just got something in my throat. Lady Gaga will put on a great show, that's no doubt. I saw her in 2010 at Lollapalooza, and it was really good. But that was the era of music that I liked of her the most. She kind of lost me around the time she put out Born This Way, and everything after that has been not my cup of tea. So if you're a Lady Gaga fan, I'm sure you're excited. If you're your average music listener, I don't know if you'd be excited. Leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking about this replacement, because replacing Beyonce is not an easy task, and they picked a heavy hitter, but was it the right one? We'll have to see. The Ultimate 80s Doubleheader Tour was just announced today. It is Hall & Oates and Tears for Fears.
What?
Yeah, are we going? Let's
Very
go.
much so. How much are tickets? We'll talk later.
That's going to be a great show. I think Hall & Oates still put on a wonderful show. My friend saw them at the Hollywood Bowl last year. I couldn't make it. I was busy. And Tears for Fears, they're doing some cool stuff right now with music. They did a EP that I have on vinyl over here that they covered Animal Collective and Arcade Fire. They are hip to the groove, and they're definitely putting out stuff that's modern, and they're in touch with modern music. So I think at that show you can expect any kind of cool covers along with their iconic catalog. So that's one that I don't think anyone should miss. Jack White's Third Man Records label just opened up a new pressing plant for vinyl in Detroit. This is huge news because there aren't that many pressing plants around anymore. Any ones we add to the US will only help speed up all the backlog of vinyl that isn't out because there's 50,000 weird picture discs and 80s reissues that have to come out for Record Store Day and 50 Justin Bieber singles and all these One Direction albums no one's buying. So now that we have a Third Man Records pressing plant, A, we're going to see a lot of cool stuff from Jack White and his label, and B, hopefully it speeds up all these great releases coming to our doors. So this is cool. I wish I could have been there for the release party. I heard there was awesome concerts there. They had limited edition records that people are now flipping for absurd prices. I really wanted that White Stripes Stay Still album, but I wasn't there. So if any of you were there and you happen to have it and you want to sell it to me for about what you bought it for, shoot me an email, but not expecting anything. Fleet Foxes' mid-2000s indie darlings have just announced that they are doing some shows. None of them are near me, unfortunately, but I'm hoping a big tour emerges because they are apparently on the heels of a new album. Their last album, Helplessness Blues. It's so hard to say. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Their last album, Helplessness Blues, was one of the best indie folk albums probably of my lifetime. If you haven't heard that, or if you don't know Fleet Foxes, you should go educate yourself with their discography right now. There's 2 albums, and they're both really, really good. If this is any indication, I think that the third album will be just as good, if not better. So it's one of the albums I am most looking forward to this year. That, and the new Kendrick album. That's right. Kendrick Lamar is supposed to be putting out a new album. He says that he's releasing it with urgency because of the current social and political climate. You know, he's done talking about the problem. Now he has more to say. So he's going back to his communities with this one, he said. And I'm obviously excited because To Pimp a Butterfly was, if this is any indication of his trajectory, this is going to be a killer. And I have a boatload of records coming in. I mean, a lot. I'm obviously going to show all these off in the B-side, but I'll tell you what they are now so you can look forward to them at the end of the month. Of course, there's the records that I talked about last month that did not arrive yet. The Acceptance album, King Gizzard, and the MF Doom 7-inch with the figure. Now, Acceptance, I'm hoping is good. I've heard mixed reviews about it, so fingers crossed. King Gizzard's going to be great because they're just fantastic, and that figure is going to be so cool when I get it. I can't wait to show you guys. Of course, I also have the new Vinyl Moon of the month coming out, so I can't wait to show you guys that. And the Teen Days record, which is the one that I talked about in the B-side saying it blew me away. Bought the record, hand-numbered at 300. I can't wait to get that and spin that. Here's a random one. 3-6 Mafia's Most Known Unknown. Fat Beats, the online record shop, put up a hand-numbered out of 300 on purple splatter vinyl version of this. It's never been on vinyl before, and this is 3-6 Mafia's most popular and commercially successful album. This has some of their biggest hits like Stay Fly, Poppin' My Collar. Their early stuff is really cool, and Lil Ugly Mane, shirt I'm wearing, actually refers to them in style quite a bit. Mr. Thug Isolation is Memphis-style rap in theory. This album is going to be good for when I just am feeling like I'm in a party mode. I mean, this is a great hip-hop album. It's definitely a little more crunk and gangster than I listen to on a regular basis, but it's so limited, I had to grab it because I knew I'd regret it down the road. But last I checked, it's not sold out yet. So maybe this is your chance to go grab it. So if you like that album, go to Fat Beats. Temporary Residents, the people that also pressed the Alluvium record from last video, putting out Pinback Some Off-Cell Voices. It's 2 of their earlier EPs. Pinback is an awesome indie rock, indie folk kind of sound, and these EPs are both knockouts, and they put them together on colored vinyl, sold out. and I'm glad I got one in time, so I can't wait to spin that also. Something I'm exceptionally excited for is a recent Discogs purchase. Now, I don't know if you know who Captain Murphy is, but he is the rap alter ego of the electronic wizard Flying Lotus. Under Captain Murphy, he has one album called Duality. It came out to, I think, 1,000 copies on clear vinyl, two discs, and it sold out back in the day before I was even into it, and you can't find it now for less than $200. The cheapest copy on Discogs last I looked was $260. I saw someone selling it for $150. It's been on my bucket list for a long time, so I bought it. It should be on the way to me. The seller has delayed shipping twice, so I'm hoping I'm not getting scammed because of how low the price was. But it's a USA shipper. It says Friday I should be getting tracking, so fingers crossed. I'm really excited to show this to you guys. It probably won't ever get a repress because it had a lot of samples on it that probably can't get cleared again. So this is going to be a definite collector's item, an awesome album, and one of the cornerstones of my collection if it comes in. So that's cool. May, one of my favorite emotional rock bands from the 2000s, are putting out their EP set Morning, Afternoon, and Evening, which is their namesake, May. 3 really good EPs put together for 3 awesome discs. It's a 3-disc set, and I'm a little annoyed about how they handled the release, and I'm going to talk about it real quick and just rant. This band is great. I've seen them live. I love all their albums. I think they're exceptional musicians and all that jazz. But this was not cool as a vinyl collector. They announced these EPs were coming out, and they said it was limited to 300, and I'm almost positive they said one-time pressing. Sold out really quickly, and they said, all right, this was crazy, it sold out, 500 copies now. And I was watching it, and I was like, all right, that kind of sucks. That's less collectible, but, I still got one. 500 sold out, and they were like, this is awesome, 750 copies. And I'm sitting there like, you know what? I purchased this. It was a little expensive. It was $50 to start with. It was going to be 300 copies, which, collectability adds to the reasons why I would purchase a record. 750 copies versus 300? That's a big difference. But that was only their first transgression. The second one was that before anyone even got this first one in hand, they announced a second press of 500 more copies, wait for it, on a cooler looking variant. It was these clear with wispy smoke of individual colors. The first one were just these translucent discs of the 3 colors of the cover. But this one looks so beautiful, and it was more limited, same price. I was furious. I actually emailed the band and asked them if I could switch my pre-order to the second one. They said yes, which was cool. But overall, this is no longer a collectible. This has just become an overpriced 3 EP set. I bought it because I love the music, but this was handled very poorly from a collector standpoint. So if you're watching this, May, this was not the best thing you could have done. I'm a little bummed, but I am happy you're putting it out. Something I've been waiting for a while, and I've been waiting to listen because I'm super stubborn until I get the record, is the new Arms and Sleepers album. Arms and Sleepers is a group that did ambient music at first, and they've slowly morphed into a electronic down-tempo sound, and then their newest album is apparently a little hip-hoppy and trip-hoppy and all over the place, a little more aggressive. They have MCs on the album for the first time. I hear it's really good. I have not listened yet, but I'm a big fan of all of their stuff. I'm such a big fan that I pre-ordered the limited variant on clear with black smoke. I also pre-ordered the lathe cut, which is limited to 17 copies. So I grabbed that in time. It sold out super fast, and it was cut by a friend of mine, Richard Houghton. Richard is a wonderful musician, and actually, this Wednesday, we're going to be putting out a mini documentary that Sandy and I shot about him and his music, because he cuts records with a lathe. It's unbelievable, and look forward to that because it's going to be a long watch, but definitely worth it because this guy's fascinating, passionate, and just captivating. So I hope that you enjoy the mini doc because he has a lot of good tunes. Speaking of Richard Houghton, I'm also excited for the group he's in, A Cosmic Gift, putting out Hologram through Sly Vinyl, one of my favorite music blogs. Hologram is cool because it actually has a hologram on it that Richard made, like the Star Wars release. Not many people can do this. In fact, some say only one guy can do this. But I know Richard personally. He can do it. So that's really cool. And maybe him and the guy who does the other hologram can work together on some crazy release in the future. Hologram's going to be a great album. I got both variants through Sly Vinyl. So that's going to be coming in. And I'm so excited to hear it because A Cosmic Gift is a mixture of excellent drums, guitar, cello, and just the most incredible melodies you can even think of. In the last video, I also mentioned I didn't pick up the new Dirty Projectors album, and I haven't listened to it yet. Love Dirty Projectors. I'm really excited to hear it. My best friend from college tells me that it's one of the best albums I've heard in a long time. I went to Amoeba, they did not have the deluxe version from the website. So that was a bummer. I held off. I was looking at the website, it was like $37 after shipping. It was a lot for the deluxe. But then on the Vinyl Collectors subreddit, some dude posted that he didn't love the album the way he thought he would, and he wanted to sell his deluxe copy for $24 shipped. Boom. Message him, he's sending it to me. That is super generous. That is far less than he paid. He hasn't even played it. He just heard it digitally and wasn't into it. So I'm really excited to hear that, and hopefully I love it as much as all my friends do. And finally, I have a box set on the way. Mark Lonigan, the singer of Screaming Trees, the grunge group from the 90s, has a great solo career where he honestly channels a lot of Leonard Cohen. His deep, gravelly voice and the folky melodies. It's really solid stuff. I've recently gotten into it. I liked Screaming Trees, but I never heard his solo albums. This is a box set of the 5 albums he did while he was on Sub Pop, the label. So this goes for $80, $90. But I found it on Amazon Warehouse deals for $55, including shipping. Caveat is that they said that the box has a bit of wear to it, so hopefully it was graded improperly and it actually looks great. I'm excited for it to come in. That's 5 awesome albums in one box set for a really reasonable price. If it's terrible, it's Amazon and I'm sure they'll let me return it, so not a huge worry, but excited to add that to the box set shelf.
Where on the box set shelf?
To make a new shelf. So that was the A-side for March. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any videos I put out. See you on Wednesday. This disc is a zoetropic picture disc. So as you can see, the record has this repeating pattern. It's really interesting and kind of trippy. The point of it